he came in. I think they served up a cupcake.
Cupcake, I like that though.
Alrighty then. Welcome back to the Aquagon Whamma Cage Betting. We have rebranded. I do need to get used to saying that. We are coming off of a bye week. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. We had a good chance to diagnose some things for this card, which we think we have some good picks for you. But before I wanted to start the opening monologue, discussing the previous fight, we do have to backtrack about 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, time machine it, baby.
Woo, time machine, just like these sunglasses that we're wearing. You know what I'm saying? And I want to discuss, first off, the mega underdog that we gave you. We gave you two big ones, Roundtree and Brunson. Both knockouts too, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
both
yeah, I mean,
inside the distance finishes if you did do a DraftKings account with those.
Roundtree blew that guy's leg to shit, man.
Man, what a win that was.
TKO.
But this segment here, I want to kind of make this just a brief synopsis on Brunson. Now, Brunson, I think, has 100% paid his dues as the gatekeeper. And one of the things that we talked about is, like, when it comes to, like, Till, is you have to take the strength of competition with a grain of salt to a certain extent. Because if you're fighting a strength of competition and not winning it, I don't know that can out-trump someone with a pretty strong lineup of people that he's beat. Maybe not as strong, but he's won them all. In fact, you have it up right now. Name his last 5-6 fights, what the results were.
Okay, so we got Till, Kevin Holland, Edmund Shabazzian, Ian Heinich, Ellis Theodoro. Then his last loss that he had is with the champ, Stylebender, Izzy.
So in his last 6 fights, he's won his last 5, though, correct?
5, yep.
So he went to the gatekeeper after Izzy, and his last 6 fights, my man has won every single one of them. And he's aging like a fine wine. And listen, I think it was rather easy. I mean, if you go back to the show, the stat line on it, Till just doesn't throw enough fucking volume. Did I expect him to get a submission in there? No, I would have never called that Brunson. No. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Brunson just had him in every single category that you can think of. The next thing that I want to talk about, kind of what we would think is a rising star, Paddy Pimblett. I wanted to make sure I got that right with a B. Pimblett.
Paddy the Baddy.
Pimblett.
Yeah, you got him.
Listen, he's a voice out there. We love the accents here in America. I think, he came in. I think they served him up a cupcake.
Cupcake, I like that though.
I'm gonna be honest though. His next fight, if it's anybody that's halfway decent, I'm gonna fade him. And I'll just be real with you. I have seen fucking garbage cans with better footwork than Paddy. And newsflash, garbage cans don't have fucking legs. So, at the end of the day, I just think it was sloppy. He went out there. I'll give it to the guy. He's willing to trade with you, which is exciting. And as MMA fighters, we like to watch that shit. But I'm not putting my wallet on him.
No, too sloppy. I mean, he kind of reminds me of one of those vultures from the Jungle Book. I don't know if I think they were mocking the Beatles back then. But, you put a mop on your head and then throw fucking wild punches and beat the hell out of, some of the lower competition at the UFC. I just don't see it coming through. I know he's talking a lot of shit to people like Sugar Sean, which is in a smaller weight class, but I think he's going to have a hard time with some of these top level guys.
I couldn't agree more. Now, as we get into this fight night, I don't think that, if you look at the main card, Anthony Smith, definitely, if you've watched previous shows, definitely not one of my favorite fighters. In fact, I don't like him. I tend to like to fade him. And then you got Spann. I think that, it's an interesting one, but I think that what I like about this is I think some of the undercard fights are a lot better. And that makes for a good overall card. I think there's some good betting angles on this one. I actually like quite a few dogs. And where I kind of want to start off, and my co-host here, Dave, you've become a little bit of a pontiff here when it comes to women's MMA prognostics.
Some say I'm the best.
Some would say that.
Some say I'm the best. And then, we got a unusual card, 16 fights on this card, a couple of hotties on this card. I like breaking down these fight cards and watching the tape because there is probably the best looking female MMA card we got going on.
Which tape are we watching? The OnlyFans or?
Well, don't check my credit card statements, but it was you. Just don't tell my girl. But listen, we're starting out strong with the women's MMA. They're starting to get a lot of respect. They're opening up the card here. And I think Hannah Goldie and we got Emily Whitmer.
Now, Hannah Goldie, and I do want to get your take on this, but that to me, and believe it or not, it's funny. I hate to start because, it does take some church bells to start, with a women's MMA bet as your quote unquote lock underdog of the week, albeit it's not a big underdog. I think that Hannah Goldie's coming in at plus 100. I think maybe you're at like negative 105, 110, 120, depending on what book you're using on the other end there. I have a take on this one. And here's the deal. Hannah Goldie, to me, I think she's definitely got the upper hand on the feet. I think that she could potentially have the upper hand if she can stuff the takedowns. But even if she takes it down, fun fact about Hannah Goldie, just a recent recipient of her purple belt.
Interesting.
So even if she doesn't stuff the takedown, which I think is the only path to victory on the other angle, I do like my odds here. And the fact that we're getting plus money. And let me just pull up a statistic here for you. Do you want to give your take real quick while I pull this up, and then I'll kind of tell you why I say that she's the lock?
Yeah, Hannah Goldie. I don't know if I like it as much as you like this one. I got a different women's fight that I'm actually going to make my lock of the week. But Hannah Goldie, I think, she's the best looking house on the crepid block. But I'll take her on this one. She looks like she should be a better wrestler. You said she just got the purple belt. This one's not blowing my hair back, but for plus money on her, and you're almost at a coin flip with some of these low level MMA women. So I'll go with Hannah Goldie with you. I like it.
Okay, so let me give you a little bit of Emily Whitmire and what I am seeing and why I'm coming here. Emily Whitmire is someone that reaches for the cage door. Okay, so here's the statistic that I wanted to give you. And if you've watched these fights, feel free to look up and do your own research, but here's why. Vienna, Riberas, and Robertson. So this is dating back to 2017, 2020, and 2019. All three of these losses were by submission, but it goes a little bit further than that. These are one of those losses where she was beat to submission. She wanted to submit. That's that reaching for the cage door. And in women's MMA, that's a dangerous place to be. In fact, one of the things that I like the most about women's MMA is they don't quit. They don't do shit like this. Well, Whitmer, she does. And for me, if I'm getting underdog money on someone that, I think if she takes a hard hit or gets herself into a bad position or maybe starts to get a little bit gas, she's going to be looking to maybe put her neck out there or an arm out there. Maybe even an arm bar would be something I could see happening where Hannah Goldie's going to take advantage of it. I think I see this one all the way plus 100. Listen, I'm not saying we're making millions on dollars here, but at the end of the day, that's going to be my pick. I think that's my underdog, keyword underdog, lock of the week, Hannah Goldie. Okay. What is you said you had a women's MMA pick that, as always, I want to preface this. There is 15 fights, as always, on Women Cage Betting. We don't go over every single fight. We go over the ones that we think are worth a shit to bet on. Yeah,
that's going to be a long show. You go over 16 that nobody knows.
Boy, a long show of shit you're not betting on, that's for sure.
Well, women's MMA, I think we're going to bring a lot of people to like it, see the value that Vegas gives you on these women MMA. Now, after Hannah Goldie hits with Stewart's lock of the week here, I think you're going to have a little bit of extra money in that bank account to go again with this Andrade Lipski, Mandy Boehm. Now, I'm going against one of my number one rules with betting MMA for women, and it's always go with the Brazilian. But this Mandy, she's coming out of a Bellator, and if you just watch the tenacity that she goes after these women with, like you're saying, these women don't have any quit in her. She doesn't even need to have quit in her because she is coming after these people. She's all go, go, go. And I think she's just going to be too much on the feet, too sharp with the striking, too strong on the ground. Anything you do with Mandy here, she's just going to be too much for Lipski.
I mean, we talked about it with the Ricky fight. It kind of to what you're saying is it reminds me a lot of like how Ricky never stopped. He's always scoring no matter where he is. When you're going to a decision fight, which in women's MMA you just typically do, the power just isn't there as much as it is with the men. Just a fun fact. Mm-hmm. I think that's some of the things that you're going to run into. And I truly believe, listen, I'm not placing a bet on this. This is a no bet for me. I just don't know enough on the topic, but I like where you're going with that. The other thing too is, just because they're a Brazilian, the thing is, I think jiu-jitsu is one of those things that are falling out of the meta. Once upon a time when people didn't train for that kind of shit or know that it was coming, it was more prevalent than it is in today's MMA. Do people still get caught? Yes. But it's not this big advantage where you get someone on the ground and they're just lost out there.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I like it so much in women's MMA. Because with women's MMA, you're looking at normally fighters that are a little bit lower skill level than these high-level men, and that's when that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will kind of carry them forward. Now, the one reason I do think that Lipski's getting the kind of nod on the line, I think she's a slight favorite on this one. She does have some UFC experience. Lipski's had a lot of fights in the UFC, and her last 2 fights were losses. Mandy is coming out of Bellator, but she's undefeated, and she's looked very impressive in each win. I don't think the jump in competition to be going to UFC is going to hurt her at all.
No. And Bellator, listen, I think some of the top Bellator people that they came up organically through the Bellator, which, is few and far between. I think a lot of them are good. We've talked about it with Chandler.
Yeah.
I think that some of their organically grown fighters are just as good and can compete at the UFC level. It's just a matter of cost. I think I've talked about it on previous shows. I think that the UFC could open up the wallet book just a little bit more, especially in the rate that they're going with how many, events that they're pumping out. That's an argument for a different day. But no, I don't think that coming from the Bellator is a knock on anybody. I think, if anything, it's like you've made it to the big leagues and you're going to fight even harder to prove that you belong here. Kind of that chip on the shoulder. So I like to pick. I'd like to pick a lot.
Yeah, I think that's my bet of the week, especially underdog and women MMA pick. But I'm going to take Hannah Goldie with you as well.
All right. So the next fight that I want to talk about, I think that this one is getting, a lot of publicity. When you talk about Joaquin Buckley, as far as that kick that he had.
Ooh, I'm loving this
I think
fight.
he's still riding those coattails on that kick. And I think Vegas is letting you know that with a negative 225 versus Antonio Arroyo coming in at plus 175. Let me give you a couple of 1-2s on this one. First off, Arroyo is the bigger fighter. 6'2", doesn't have the reach per se, but he's definitely going to be the bigger guy in there with Buckley coming in at 5'10". Reach is pretty relevant at 74, 76. We do have a clash of styles with Southpaw versus Orthodox, which I like. But the one thing, if you look, and you do have to look at, Arroyo hasn't had the best stint as far as his last couple of fights. And Buckley has recency bias with, within a year, or about a year ago, getting one of the best knockouts of the year in 2020, I'd imagine. So there's that, and I think that's playing a big role in the line, which you see a lot in the UFC, and sometimes you can cash in on these. And I like the line, but Arroyo is a kicking machine. And now something that he does that I think is unique when it comes to kicking, and I've always talked, I like when they take out the lead leg. That's the obvious one. But Arroyo works the fucking body with that kick, and it's menacing. And I'm telling you right now, body shots are like the one thing you can't stack rake in a UFC. It's not the crowd pleaser. It's not the thing that you're like watching. It's like, oh, wow, he really got him. Or that even the analysts, sometimes like Joe Rogan and the analysts will catch it and be like, man, that one really hurt him. But when you go in there and you're landing menacing kicks on the body, one, most fighters aren't really defending it. They're up here. They're defending the dome, right? And you take them right there. It's open. And if you're a guy that's looking for it and you can continuously hit that, which he has shown that he can. Now, listen. There's levels to the game. I know that Buckley is, one of the top in the division. He's up there, probably on his run right now, I would imagine. But if he can land in those body shots, he's going to open up shit later on in the rounds, in my opinion. You had Arroyo too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you know what? This is the fight that I'm looking forward to watching the most out of this card. It can't be not fight of the night. Both these guys, either they're knocking someone out or getting knocked out. I mean, it's almost cliche to say somebody's getting kicked in the head and this fight gets finished because I don't see any other way this going. I mean, you take the under and with two guys that can kick like this and can put you out so quickly, I don't know how you don't take the underdog in this one. It's almost like a coin flip for me. And you got Aurora at what?
Minus 175. I'm sorry, plus 175.
So yeah, you got Aurora at plus 175, and I can't see this being more than a coin flip with these two guys that are just going to be blasting each other the whole fight.
And when you talk about the whole fight, I do see this, like Arroyo he's durable. His last 2 fights, they were losses to Win and Munoz, but they were both via decision. That's important to know because he is willing to go the distance. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're going to get edged out, but I think that Buckley's a fighter that literally relies a lot on his power.
Yeah.
And if he's not going to land those big knockout shots, he's in big trouble. Now, if I'm looking at, I'll just kind of give you, like, if you look at Buckley, he did lose his last fight. Let me pull this up here. Sorry, I went back.
He got head kicked.
He got the favor returned to him. But then, outside of that, if he's not knocking you out, I just don't see the path to victory for him.
No, I agree.
And at a negative 225 price tag, I can see putting him in a DraftKings lineup, but I really can't see anything else other than that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the fireworks. I'm taking the dog on this one. I think this is great value on a dog that's really hungry. I mean, had the bad end of a few decisions, like you were saying, but I mean, this guy's coming ready to throw. So if he's got an opponent that's ready to do the same, he can connect just as good as anybody else. So I like the underdog here.
All right, let's go to. Let me say one thing here. We're going to have to add some of this if you don't mind.
Oh, I can. It's easy.
So if you look at, and I want to kind of touch on the point with Buckley real quick. He lost by TKO. He lost by knockout, on his last fight. Wright, Kenzengawe, and Holland, he lost to Holland. But his last two, he got the knockout. So he literally is either knocking you out or he's looking for the knockout and gets knocked out in the process. What we don't know about him is what happens if it goes to a decision. You're fighting a guy that goes to a decision and likes to work the body. He likes to go back to the fundamentals of UFC fighting, MMA. Again, I think it's just such a good value pick. So, I'm not going to call this one. I feel a little stronger about the goalie because, listen, we can't downplay the power that Buckley has. He's got sheer athleticism. He is carrying a big chassis. So there is the chance that he will wear out in there too.
Yeah, he's got a body type.
He is the favorite for a reason, and the big reason is the power is 100% there. He can light you up. You can easily see a knockout here. I just, you know what? Give me the underdog money, and let's see what happens. Ride him on a parlay, baby.
Big value.
All right, this next little sprinkle I have for you, you are paying two-way juice on this. We have Impa Kazakane. Well, can't say the fucking name still, but versus Carson Harris. Now, Impa, as we know, the unanimous kick on the previous segment where he basically got his face tattooed with Buckley's foot / heel. Here's the line. Carson Harris coming in at negative 106. Impa, the slight favorite, at negative 118. Now, as far as the fight statistics go, I mean, they match up. Impa, a little bit shorter at 5'11", 6 foot, both 75-inch reach. Both orthodox fighters, so not a lot to go with there. But if you look at Carson Harris's tape, and I had a stat, and I had it written down, I forgot what it was, but when you look at some of the footage on this guy, when you talk about a chain takedown artist, I mean, the chain wrestling this guy has, he is always, there's two really good chain wrestlers actually in this card that I'm going with, and he's one of them. Be it that he's a slight underdog, I just see him being able to take Impa down and just controlling the fight. I think that Impa, again, coming off a pretty good victory in his last go around, but maybe that plays a bit of a role in the line. But I just think I love the cardio of this guy. I love the fact that it's a close line. If anything, you're getting him as a slight underdog, albeit paying juice. It's important to know. But for me, that's going to be a nice little parlay piece for me. Again, I like a lot of. I was just saying this. I like a lot of underdogs on this card.
Yeah, good value on some dogs on this card. Impa got kind of knocked out by Buckley. A lot of people fought each other on this card too. That's an interesting little stat I've noticed when I was watching tape.
Can be dangerous though. Because matchups make fights. I think as far as like someone's style, like what might work for one doesn't work against another. Mm-hmm. If you look at it that way, but you are right. There is quite a bit. But, I think with this one, if you're watching this, go pull up some footage on him. And I just don't see Impa being able, and his takedown defense. And granted, I don't think Impa's been in a lot of, takedown battles. And I know that he's had a fight where he was like taken down quite a bit, but his takedown defense is like 27%. Not going to cut it versus a guy that can take you down at will. Even if he wants to exchange and he gets into trouble, I see him just going in and taking him down and riding it out. And in a 3-round fight, you don't have to do it that often to ride the round. And I just don't want to be. How many times have you been in a situation where you're betting and it's like, there's the takedown, rides him out, I lost the round. And there's two situations that I see this happening on a couple different fights on this card. This being one of them. So that's going to be a bet for me. The next one, I think is a very interesting matchup. Now, we're not going to be making waves here. I think he is the biggest favorite on the card, if I'm not mistaken. At plus, what is he, plus 625. The line did move from plus 600 to plus 625, which is interesting that it moved that way because it seems like when Vegas is putting a line out there like that, and we're talking about Montel Jackson versus JP Buys, it's actually out to negative 630. For a line to move that far, it says quite a bit. Because when they put it out there, they're almost begging you. Now, JP Buys, fun fact about him, we've talked about this before, a killed fighter. Don't believe he's ever been in the second round. He has a 100% finish rate, and he has a 100% get finished rate. So he's either knocking you out in the first round, or he's getting knocked out in the first round. He's fighting up a weight class, and the size differential in this one is insane. We have 6 inches in height for Montel Jackson, for one. I think that's, you're fighting up a weight class. You're fighting an absolute warrior. And you haven't even made it to the second round.
Yeah, man, I think the only person I'm going to bet with JP is if... So, yeah, the only person I'm going to bet with JP is if he fights Cheyenne Bays. Because I don't think he's going to be beating anybody in the UFC anytime soon. I don't know how he even has a contract right now. He had a good Contender Series win, but, those are hit or miss.
Yeah, which we're gonna have those tonight too. But I just that Contender Series, I don't put any weight in them. I just don't think it's the best breeding ground. I know that they're trying it to make it as such, but I just haven't seen. To me, it's an auto fade for me. But yeah, no, I'm with Montel on this one. Now, what I'm going to recommend that you do here, if you want a little play, you put Montel Jackson in your DraftKings for one, because I think this is a finish. I think that's an auto finish, and you can't have an early round auto finish not on your DraftKings. Bottom line. So save some room. I got some value picks for you later in the show that you can kind of, circumvent having to put Montel in there, because I think DraftKings has him priced accordingly as the second most expensive guy. But with that being said, there is a slight hedge that you could do, and it wouldn't require much. Maybe a $10, $15, $20 sprinkle on a first round knockout for JP, because he does go out there and he does go quick. And he's just as capable. Now, listen, when you're fighting up a weight class, especially when you're talking about the smaller guys, the bantamweights and things like that, bantamweight and down, I think banking on a knockout is less likely. However, it might give you a nice little $10 hedge to have Montel in damn near all of your parlays and your DraftKings. Worth a sprinkle, in my opinion. That's kind of my pick for that.
That's a fun one.
All right. So the next chain wrestler that I'm going to have on the card, we're going to be talking about Tony Gravely versus Nate Mannis. Nate Mannis coming in at plus 140. Tony Gravely coming in at plus 177. Now, Gravely is giving up a little bit of the height advantage at 3 inches on the height. Again, 3 inches on the reach. However, Gravely is another one of those chain wrestlers that I love. And one thing that's interesting to point out about Gravely when you watch some of his tape, he has a good ability. He'll stand up. He'll exchange with you. And if he doesn't get the best of the exchange, he almost automatically nails the knockout. Or not the knockout, pardon me, the takedown.
Okay.
It's almost like he fucking trains in the gym, getting pegged in the face, and then taking someone down. It's almost like it's in the regiment. Like, hit me in the face a couple times. All right, cool. Then he takes him down while he's getting punched. He is incredible at doing that. When he gets in trouble, he has that get out of trouble card with his takedowns, which I love to see that. Listen, with the favorite, we're not making waves again with this one. But I think, when you talk about Mannis, he's been out for a while. He hasn't fought in quite a bit of time, a year and a half. This fight was scheduled, I believe, for April. Both coming off of on a 2. They're both, won their last 2. However, Mannis would not have won his last one, or, there's 2 fights ago if it wasn't for, taking on multiple groin shots. If he didn't deduct the points, I think Mannis loses that fight. Not why I'm not picking him. I think that Mannis has the ability. I mean, Mannis definitely has power, but I don't like his output. He's kind of like a Darren Till. He likes to counter strike. Good takedown defense. But again, this it's that chain wrestling. He's not the guy that just sets it up and picks that shot. He'll try to head inside single. He'll try to head outside single. He'll punch you, then hit you with a double. He will do anything he can to get you to the ground. And it's almost like when he starts doing it, once the trigger goes off, you can expect 3 to 5 to, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different takedown tries, and he'll eventually get you down. Coming to my last reason why I like Gravely, the gas tank is just there. I mean, the guy, he's shown an ability to go deep into fights. The takedowns don't affect him. The grappling doesn't affect him, at least for a 15-minute fight, which this one is. So I think I'm going to take Gravely here. Nice parlay piece, nice DraftKings piece. And real talk, at negative 167, it's not going to kill you just to bet him on a straight. So I don't know if you have any sauce you'd like to give him.
No, I like this one. And, you're giving yourself a little bit of a hard time picking a couple of these favorites, but the people need to know what favorites are going to hit. I mean, not all these favorites are going to hit. There's a reason why you can't just bet a parlay of all the favorites and then win money every weekend. So these people need to know the good bets were, 170, and, he's got a great chance to win this fight. We're backing him, and I'll take him all day.
Yeah, and depending on how many units you want to place per fight, I mean, you can make money if you really feel strong about a favorite and you're willing to do it. I mean, hell, if you got a pretty big if you got deep pockets, throw a few on Montel. It's probably going to hit. I mean, I just don't see the odds of it don't. Hedge on the other side on a first-round knockout, and you're good. So I appreciate that. We're going to move up the card here. Now, Kuta versus Devin Clark. Now, Kuta, he is a fan favorite. You got to love the guy, the weigh-ins. He does the Hulk painting. He's, the man has more testosterone than Hulk Hogan in his prime, in my opinion. But that's also why I don't want to bet with him. Now, he did show in his last fight, he did show the ability to kind of withhold some of that. Almost like he finally got a corner guy to talk some fucking sense into him. Don't just go out swinging for the fences because, he doesn't have a good gas tank as it is. But I really, really feel, and when he fought Jacoby, it went to a decision. He showed the poise to just get in there and control a fight, which if he's willing to do that, he is a tough out. And when you look at the line on this one, negative 143 versus plus 115, I think that's interesting. Now, Devin Clark, you talk about the people, the mixed matchups here. Devin Clark, last year he fought Smith, lost, okay? But when you watch the fight, albeit it was a quick loss, I'm not going to sit here and say that this was some grand out battle, but in the 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever that the fight did go on, Devin Clark was whooping his ass. He was landing some shots up top, took him down with ease, had some good control. He just got caught. And, that's going to happen when you're fighting a guy. I mean, let's be real. Anthony Smith, he's fought some of the top competition, and I'll get more on my breakdown of him here on the next segment. But he's got good fight IQ, and that's going to happen. I think there was just a situation where it was levels to the game. Admittedly, I lost on that. There's levels to the game, and I think if he doesn't get caught in that, he wins that fight all day. And now you're getting him where he's the marquee on one event. His next fight, he's turning around. He's an underdog versus Kuta, because Kuta finally showed that he could go 3 rounds and actually show somewhat of self-control. We'll see. And if you are a little bit conscious of this bet, I don't blame you. See what happens in the weigh-in. This is one of those weigh-in bets. If Kuta seems like he's all strung out, maybe gets intense, maybe shoves him, does whatever, you automatically need to bet against him. Because one thing I don't think Devin Clark is going to do, I don't think he's going out early. And if he doesn't go out early, that's not a good sign, because Kuta can't take the control because the wrestling of Devin Clark is just simply too good. In a 3-round fight, he will control this more often than not. So again, Kutalaba's main path to victory is swinging like a banshee and getting a knockout early, because he's going to gas, and he's not going to be able to have the octagon control like he did in his last fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for a co-main event, I feel like this is a little bit salty of records for coming into a main event. We got both guys coming off a loss. Kutalaba coming off of 2 losses. I like Devin Clark here still, though. I like him as a dog. Like you said, I mean, he had a great performance. He tested the waters on the upper echelon of the division with fighting Anthony Smith. He learned a lot from that fight. He didn't get the W, but he had some bright points, like you were saying. He was on top. He's ground and pounding. I don't think Kutalaba is as slick as Anthony Smith, and I don't think he's going to have as much success against Clark as Anthony Smith did as well. So I think Clark's right about, top 10, middle of the division kind of fighter at this point right now, and I think he walks through Kuta.
I think that he, like, Kuta kind of reminds me, like, he has that intensity of our boy Ricky Terzak, or Ricky T. What's his last name? I can't think of it. Whatever. Ricky from the Tough House.
Mm-hmm.
He has like that kind of like that intensity, just that crazy motherfucker out there. But he doesn't have the gas tank. It would be great if he could keep up what he can do in the first minute or two for 15 minutes, but he just simply can't. And quite frankly, I think he's an easy takedown, for Devin Clark.
Yeah.
And Devin Clark, if you're going to put a lot of stock into the fact that he got submitted in his last fight pretty early, by all means, fine. I'm going to take the plus money and think that he's kind of progressed that in his game. He knows he wants to take you down. And it wasn't even that he had bad positioning. When he took him down, he was chest to chest. He was moving the legs. He was trying to stay in position. He was trying to pass guard. I just think that Anthony Smith just caught him in the right time, right place. Personally, I'm actually banking on that. Again, another underdog that I'm going to be putting in on parlays. I think he's a great DraftKings. Again, this is one that you can supplement some of the heavy favorites that I think you're going to need on your DraftKings to make that thing cash in. But that's going to be me. Are you Devin Clark as well?
I'm Devin Clark, yep.
Gotcha. Clark. I think that does lead us to the main event of the evening. We have Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann. I'll kick it over to you so you kind of get your take. Ooh, hiccups here they come. Before I give you this, it's the
Bartesian gets him every time.
Bartesian getting him.
Okay, so main event here, we got Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann. I was really racking my brain all week on this one. I've been Anthony Smith all week. This morning, I really just dug into everything, tried to pick this morning I just tried to find a reason why I could get off of Smith, and I just could not do it. I searched and searched and searched. Ryan Spann, he's a powerful dude. I feel like, he gets a couple of good shots in with his power on some lower level guys. You're losing to, you're going to split decision with Alvey. You're getting the loss from Johnny Walker. You're beating
Devin Clark. You beat Devin Clark.
Yeah, Devin Clark. And then you're coming up to someone that's a legit number 4 in the division, in my opinion, with Anthony Smith. He had a little bit of a slow run there, but he's proven that he's, top 5 easily. And now Ryan Spann's trying to bust his way into the top 5, and I just don't think his skill set's where it needs to be at to get into the top 5 of this division. Now, is the power there? I like the power on him. I don't like the gas tank. I don't like the skill set. Anthony Smith is just solid all around. Top level guy. Like I said, 4, definitely a top 5 in the division. No one's going to be questioning him on that, especially after a Saturday night. He's going to take care of Ryan Spann. You got to pay a little bit of favorite money, which, Anthony Smith, you got a household name there. Just take the minus 140 and go for it.
It's still minus 182. The line is minus crossing the bridge. I think the smarts, the sharps are pounding Anthony Smith. Now, let me pop this 1 second. I need to take this in because I am an auto fade when it comes to Anthony Smith. I just am. And I, like you, looked for reasons to not take him. I did. Let me tell you something about Spann. You'd have to go back outside of one fighter. I'm going to give the fighter's name. Sam Alvey was the only one that he went the distance with. You'd have to go all the way back to September of 2018 that he went to decision. Okay?
So you like Alvey, don't you?
I do not like Alvey. And Alvey's not a hard person to go to decision with because he doesn't do shit. He just looks for the counterpunch. We called that fight too. Easy as day. Easy money, in and out, give me my money. Now, when it comes down to it, Spann, if you look at his fights, when he gets these knockouts, he's gassed. This, my friends, is a marquee event, which means it's 5 rounds. You have to trust Spann to be in there for 5 rounds with Anthony Smith. Because if there's one thing I will give Anthony Smith credit for, the man is durable. The man has heart. He is the fucking Lionheart, okay? I think his nickname is fitting. You know, I've seen him get his ass kicked in there. We're talking about a guy that's been in the octagon with Bones Jones. He's been fighting top talent. He has proven that there is levels to the game. If he's going to be a gatekeeper, I do have to rethink my betting strategy. I don't think he's going to be an auto fade for me anymore. And on this one, the bet for me is Anthony Smith. Now, what I'm going to offer you guys, because we have discussed a little bit of DraftKings with you, I think that this is a good opportunity. If you are a Spann guy, don't put your wallet on it. Put your DraftKings on it. Do a $3, $5, $10, maybe a $15, $18, low risk, high reward. Because if Spann's going to get it done, it's going to be in the first 2 rounds, and it's going to be by finish, which means he's going to score you big points. That's your hedge. Okay?
That's an interesting move.
You know, fairly priced on DraftKings, definitely has the power. The problem is, in a 5-round fight, he doesn't win when it comes to the judges' hands. I think Anthony Smith is too well-rounded, to your point. I think that Anthony Smith is too durable to get knocked out, which is why if I'm putting my money on it, I think that he can go 5 rounds. I think he's ready to go 5 rounds. I don't think Spann's ready to go 5 rounds.
I mean, Anthony Smith, you remember him taking that illegal knee from John Jones sitting against the cage? I mean, you've seen what other fighters have done when they've taken illegal knees. I mean, tears in their eyes, not being able to stand up. Anthony Smith said, it's all right. I'll keep fighting.
I will say this. For the duration of this fight, I will be giving your Bartesian a workout because I am nervous. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm nervous about it, but I am going to be picking Anthony Smith. I'll be putting a unit on him on the straight up, and I'll have him in multiple parlays throughout the night. But, you know, if you're looking for a good hedge, I'm going to feel comfortable because I feel like if I put Spann in, I can afford some other good fighters that will, you know, and potentially get me a knockout. And that's how you're going to win. We're going to talk about DraftKings here for a second. You're not just going to pick the obvious pick every time and think that you're going to win because that's who everyone has in their lineup. You have to score that guy that's going to get you a knockout that was, you know, you are expecting a knockout from Spann, but, you know, are you know what I mean? He's fighting Anthony Smith, a way bigger name, way better talent, you know, coming off a good victory or 2. You know, maybe the one was kind of a fluke, but whatever. Still happened, still stood in there. And, you know, I think he's still here to stay, and I think he's going to, you know, take on this gatekeeper spot, you know, with pride almost. And, you know, I'm interested to see, maybe he researches his career and he can completely sell me on flipping on him. The problem with Anthony Smith is there's nothing about him that's just so flashy.
Right.
There's nothing, he doesn't do anything that I'm like, holy shit, this guy, there's just no, like, you know what I mean? Like, when you watch Stylebender, I'm using an extreme example here. I mean, the guy can just control a fight, stay at range, and it's just like, you know what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Anthony Smith's game plan is on any given, you know, fight that he does, but I do know that he's capable in anywhere that the fight goes.
Right.
You know, that's one, he's just kind of average, mediocre at best, and he's good at being mediocre, which when you're fighting a guy that has a questionable gas tank that kind of lives or dies off of the power, you know, I think it's a trap spot if you're going Spann here on this one. So we know Anthony Smith, but you know, trust me, don't be surprised if you see me post a winning DraftKings, maybe a takedown event that you know, I had Spann in there, and you know, he was the lead dog. Maybe even in captain mode, I'd put Spann as the captain.
Ooh,
you know, I might even go that far. So this might be a cop out. I am on both sides of the ball here, but that's kind of where I am as far as how I'm going to approach this particular fight.
All right, yeah, and then watch out for those YouTube shorts. We're going to be putting his DraftKings lineup out there. Just don't join the same one and be a jerk, but we're going to be putting out winning DraftKings. We're going to be putting out...
Feel free to do it. I'll split the pot with any one of you if you're picking my picks. Speaking of DraftKings, we are about to tape our first ever, as promised, NFL bets.
Ooh-hoo-hoo.
Coming at you live. Now, I would like you to post this in the editing is... Dave is the editor here of the show. Very good at it. We appreciate you, Dave. If you like the editing, please comment and subscribe and like. I did hit first DraftKings of the year, $3,000. Talk about the church bells you got to have between your legs. I had 3 Lions players in there. We took off. I said, listen, you know, and by the way, this wasn't my take. This was his, but I went and rode with it. If it was a system guy, Well, you go. I don't even want to steal your thunder. What is your take on Goff?
Everyone's talking bad about Goff, saying the reason why he's winning all these playoff games, the reason why he takes his team to the Super Bowl, it's not Goff. It's the coach with his system that he put together in over there in LA for the Rams. Now you're telling me in a copycat league like the NFL, a system can put the shittiest quarterback in the league in there and make it to the Super Bowl? Every single team in the NFL would be playing that system. There's no secrets that can be kept like that. Where you're telling me Goff isn't a winner. I mean, this guy's going out there with hurt hands and playing in the playoffs. This guy's doing whatever he can to try to win every time. You're gonna give me a little trade because we're Lions fans over here. So you're gonna take Stafford off our hands and give us a couple first round picks and give us the Super Bowl attendee Goff. I'm with it all day. He looked pretty decent this weekend. He had a little bit of a slow start, but I'm looking forward to the future with Goff as a Lion.
Exactly. And that was why I put Goff in there, and he did me a solid. I don't think anybody in the fucking universe had Goff in their lineup, which hence the 16th place, $3,000 payout.
So $3,000. What did you pay? $1,000 to get into this DraftKings?
$3.
$3 and you won $3,000. I don't know what those odds are, but they seem good.
1,000 to 1, my friend. 1,000 to 1. But in any case, that is why we have turned the channel to Whamma Cage betting away from Whamma Cage MMA, because we're going to give you the football picks. As always, get with us, man. Like, subscribe. We are giving you dubs. We may not always have the names, but the people we are picking win. If you have been doing this, your bank account appreciates us, and we appreciate you. Thank you.